Welcome everyone to Hobby Nonsense. I am your boy, Sports Boy, aka Jesse Gibson, and this, my partner in crime, this is Ray Solorio. How are you today, Ray?
I'm good, Jesse. It's so nice to see your face. I know that you've been gallivanting around the United States lately, going to the National, rubbing elbows with Tom Brady. I heard that you and Gary Vee are best friends now.
A lot of people are saying Jesse, Gary attached to the hip. We can't get enough of it. I say, you know what? Me and him, we're good for the moment, because it's like you spend too much time together. It's like, hey, whoa, you start rubbing each other the wrong way. Not the case. We know each other boundaries, and so we're gonna leave it at that. That being said, I'm a big Gary Vee fan.
Yeah,
big Gary
I'm
Vee.
excited to hear everything that you did, Jesse. Peeping into other people's hotel rooms.
Okay, so
through the vents, like
that has been addressed at this point a couple times. I'll say one more time. This is not my fault. This is the fact that I was in a hotel room where there is a vent in the bathroom, no less, in the shower, no less, that goes right into the shower of the next room over.
You got to be looking for something, though, Jesse.
Well, I'm not looking when you hear.
You just kind of like.
Not when you're hearing it. The sound effects that were coming through that vent. Effects? I like to think they were clearing out their sinuses. Oh. Others have thought they were clearing out something else. And so it was a very ferrumptious noise. That's not a word.
Ferrumptious?
That's the only thing I can think of to describe the honking.
In the dictionary.
Yeah. So there was
honking.
The honking of sounds that were coming through that vent. That being said, the National is what we have to cover first because we have a guest coming. We're finally going to talk about something that it's probably one of these collectible things that is so popular, and yet for the popularity of it, I know so little about, and that is Funko Pop. We're going to talk to an expert about it, and Ray already happens to be a collector. I have a couple of them. I wouldn't call myself a collector, though, but I look forward to knowing more about this market and just the collectability of these things, because they are cool.
I got heavy into Funko at one period in my life. I get into these hobbies, Jesse, and I just go like really deep.
I like that, though. I think that's really cool. That's why you're good on this pod. You know a lot about a lot of different things. So.
Yeah. Well, now I just kind of like hold myself. I only collect signed wrestling Funko Pops.
Oh, really?
So I've like held my back from only signed.
I look forward to talking more about which ones you have.
Hey, now I have a whole collection.
Well, when we get into the interview, we're going to talk all about that. Before we get there, though, I do want to give one shout out. One of the sponsors of the show, Courtyard, is doing yet another giveaway. We've already done several of them. I'll be announcing winners hopefully next week. I asked them if we can go ahead and start getting a list of the ones for the 3 cards that we pulled. We posted on social media, as well as the comic book that we did. It was like a $300 Spider-Man comic book. If you guys have not already tried to enter to win those things, really what you need to do is go to the Non-Sports Cards Nonsense Facebook group. In the featured area, there are 2 posts where you can enter to win these things. Essentially, you just have to drop your username. We'll be selecting winners at random. But for this week, there's also another giveaway, and it's a $300 plus card. It is the 2000 Neo Genesis Pichu.
Oh,
BGS 9. Last comp, I think, was like around $350 or so.
Nice.
And it had worse subgrades than this one. So this one actually may be better sales than that. But either way, that is the giveaway. The entry to win is essentially this. Hobby 15, which is not Hobby 10, the normal discount code for Courtyard. They're doing Hobby 15 because they are doing a special extra discounting because they just had the app launch and they had this huge national thing. Honestly, at the national, I went over there because I'm like, hey, I want to win something. I want to try and get a freebie of some kind because they're giving away all these freebies. The line was wrapped around and then down the hall. It was by far the longest line I could see in the whole national of like people trying to get something. So, and rightly so, people won like $2,000 plus Pokemon and other sport cards. So yeah, I did not get in there, but because of all these things they're doing and giving away, they're also giving away the Hobby 15, an extra 5% discount. So a total of 15% off your next pack purchase. And whenever you do a pack purchase, that is an entry to win this Pichu card. So
awesome.
That being said, let's get into some
Nonsense.
national nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, I like
you
that.
like how I did that? You like that?
alliteration,
National nonsense here for you. So first, I want to talk about the general lack of nonsense. And that being said, just the lack of non-sports.
Really?
Not a lot of it. Not as much as I would hope there to be, especially given the demand of just Pokemon itself.
That's interesting.
I would think with just Pokemon itself, there'd be a lot of vendors because there's so many kids there. I think each year there's more kids than the last.
That's good.
It's very good, especially for just the hobby in general. You want kids to, like this young, because that's what we are. Like most of us collected as kids, and now as adults, we're collecting still. And I think it's good. It's helps the market. But at the end of the day, we also know a lot of kids not only like sports, but they also do like Pokemon and other non-sports stuff. And that was just the thing. I did not to say there wasn't any, because there was some. There just wasn't a lot.
I have a vendor friend that actually went to go.
Oh, really?
And purchase Pokemon and sell Pokemon there. So.
Oh, I'd love to know what they thought about it. Yeah, once you should find out and see what they thought, because my overall thought was just, if you saw it, what you would see is like you'd go to a booth and there'd be a display case, and the maybe top half of the case is like, your Trevor Lawrence and a Patty Mahomes. And then at the bottom, it's like your random like Spock autograph and like just like random non-sport just here and there.
Like, just in case, let's throw that
exactly. It's like, hey, we had this in the shop. Let's bring it down here. And they were cool. I did like a few of the ones I saw. A number of them that I saw were overpriced in my opinion. But again, I think that's like, oh, hey, I'm going to be showing this off to people who may not know the market as well. I'm going to jack up the price and just see what I can get for it. I wasn't one to be like trying to haggle any of them down on some of these cards. So that said, there were a number of like raw vintage things I saw there, but the condition just wasn't great. And there's a lot of that already out there. There's a lot of non-good conditioned versions of non-sport cards that if I wanted to find for a decent price online, I could probably do. So I was like, didn't really stand out to me. There were very few sketch cards that I could find, even though one or two tables did have some. So yeah, it's not to say there was nothing again, but it just was not what I was hoping for because the amount of tables that are there. It's just like at the end of the day, how many tables are overlapping in sport cards? Like there's a lot of people who have a lot of the same thing. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit out of that realm. And again, it's called the National Sports Card Convention. I get that it's mainly sports, but still, demand is demand, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think there could have been a lot of people looking for this that also weren't finding what they were wanting. So, so my overall thought was that. However, it didn't stop me from still finding a few pieces here and there. I found this really cool Project 70 Otani Super Mario Brothers, like from Nintendo 64 version. So that's very cool. I'm very happy about that pickup. I got a higher grade Taylor Swift rookie. So I have one already from the 2011 Topps American Pie set where it's like Taylor Swift and Kanye on there. Yeah. It's very, very sought after card.
You have one graded currently?
I have one graded currently. It's an SGC 9. This one that I just got is an SGC 9.5. I'm hoping that I can get it over to a PSA 10. That is the hope and dream. Picked up one of those. I got a Howard Hughes rookie. This is from like a 1930s cigarette pack. It's one I've actually bid on a few times, like on a few different platforms. I typically get outbid. They're not crazy expensive in lower grades, and this is probably going to grade out like maybe a PSA 5 or 6. It was definitely a decent condition one, but I don't know. I think Howard Hughes is a very interesting story. Ever since I saw that movie Aviator, and then like learning a little bit more about like that man himself, I'm like, man, this is like he was, I don't know, like an Elon Musk of the time.
With Leo?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Like he's in all the bottles?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. That's what the guy did also. So it's just like, I don't know. It's a very, very interesting person. I thought that was cool to pick up. I also got, someone gave a friend of the show, Jeff Bunk. Actually, his name's not Bunk. Bunk is short for it, and I can't remember how you pronounce his full last name.
Bunkenstein?
You're getting closer than I was,
Something
but
like
yeah. But Jeff gave me like this in cellophane, still like these X-Men Pogs from back in the day.
Oh, that's dope.
So I was like, that's really cool.
Dude, that's what I'm waiting for.
Right.
For the Pogs to come back.
Dude, all right. I mean, I've got a few actually in this office over here.
I know that
some people grade Pogs. I don't know who grades
Pogs.
Them?
Yeah. I know PSA is starting to grade the Pokemon coins.
Oh, that's a good point. So if they're grading that, yeah, they already have like a holder, I would think. So J.E. Ursith, of another friend, he got me a Luke Skywalker, 1977 Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper uniform.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
This is interesting. That card was until the National the highest sale of any Star Wars card. Not the one I got, but it was that same card in a higher grade. And I think Mark actually signed it. Mark Hamill did. It was like $77,000. That was eclipsed, however, at the National.
Okay.
In fact, I think it was Thursday, I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, I was at the National in the back VIP area, just kind of hanging out. I don't like to brag too much, but I mean, hey, what are you going to do? I was there. And Matt from DAPS Sports is a company that's been around for a few years. The 2021, it's a Star Wars Galaxy card, and the card is the Jedi a la Kurosawa. It's the Superfractor, so it's the one of one of this amazing looking card. It's got all of these different Jedi throughout the entire, Skywalker saga of movies. So you've got Luke's on there, you got Hayden Christensen, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, you've got all the other characters, Obi-Wan and a few others of Jedi. And the art looks amazing. It's kind of been like built up over the last few years among like Star Wars collectors as like a very cool and popular card. And he bought it originally a few years ago for like $16,000, and he just sold it for $100,000 at the show. $100,000. And here's the thing, that is now the largest sale of any Star Wars card ever. And it's so cool that I was there like 30 minutes before it happened. I got pictures with him and the card. Oh, Matt Hathorn. Matt is, he actually was on the podcast before you came on, I think. One of the episodes right before that, he came on and showed off his collection of non-sport from like the TGIF days. So it's like got Urkel and cool. Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell and like all of these really cool 1990s graded cards. It was featured in like PSA magazine an issue or two ago. And he came by while I was there, and he brings over this baby stroller of cases. There's these cases, and according to Mike, which again, sometimes it's hard to know what's actually real and what he's just fantasizing. He says like Matt it wasn't even his baby stroller. He just like found it somewhere. So whatever the
random baby. So there's a baby.
There's a baby out there on the ground, not being strolled.
Strollerless.
Exactly. So anyways, that being the case though, he now brings over the entire 200 character collection from 2024 Topps Disney Chrome of the Dalmatian 101 Dalmatian parallel graded parallel cards. So it's every single card in that parallel. I could not believe he said it's like literally $100,000 to $200,000 worth of cards. And I mean, you look at some of the quality of these cards, it's absolutely amazing to see all of them all together.
Yeah.
But it's also like, oh, I get why like these are so popular. Like, I mean, I pulled some myself. I ripped a number of those cases.
What is the parallel?
It's just like a very cool, like just spotted, like a speckled 101 Dalmatian print on the sides of it. But anyways, it's one that a lot of collectors like out of that set. It's very popular, and he and his wife have been, I guess, collecting them for a number of years, buying raw and then getting them graded and then selling them off. But yeah, he
so they weren't like in
a
binder. They're like
so he had some other ones in binders, not those specifically. Those were like in like these big metal cases. That
I'm trying to understand like why the baby stroller.
I think just to carry it around, he had, because not only did he have those cases, he also had like some binders and things like that. So he had a lot of stuff to carry. Why a baby stroller over something else? I do not
a
know.
wagon, or
I do not know why Matt chose.
like,
but here's the thing: when
they make
see Matt,
nylon cases, they make backpacks, they make like those rolling backpacks.
when you see Matt in person, especially at this thing, like he's like wearing tuxedo shirts one day, and like another day, it's just like, and he's got like this mohawk with just completely shaved head, and then like mohawk, and he just is he's a character.
So the stroller is very on brand.
Yes, he'd be welcome at USA TV, the TV channel, like Characters Welcome. He would be very welcome there. That's all I can describe him as.
Gotcha.
The Gary Vee thing was awesome because he reached out beforehand wanting me to come over and do a rip with him. Now, he did this with a number of people, but the fact that you're getting requests for Gary, or for you to go over there and break with Gary is, I mean, it's humbling to say the least. But you go over there, and I thought it was just going to be a thing where it's like behind their setup. They have like this trailer setup thing where you can't really see behind it. And I was like, oh, there's just like this tiny little area behind it where no one would even know you're there. And I'm thinking, oh, well, there's just going to be a camera, and it's going to be me and him kind of like going back and forth about these cards. Private. But then like I get over there, and there's like 15 cameras that are lined up by the time we start shooting. There's so many people, and then we're talking back and forth. I end up pulling like one of these Steph Curry crossover cards from the upcoming Super Sticker boxes.
So you opened up the Super Sticker?
Yes. Okay. So we were going to open like a few packs, but then it's like I hit in the very first pack I got. I get like there's only one per box.
Keep it going.
Yeah, there's one per box. So it's I got the which ninja is it? Notorious Ninja crossover card. So and Gary ended up signing it right there too.
And you kept it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was mine. I was like, I'm keeping this. You know that, right?
Did you?
I have not. So I wanted to submit it to PSA, but I was like, it was end of the day on Saturday. We had like these eBay meetings later after that, so it was like I just did not have time.
Gotcha.
And so I'm gonna end up having to send it in, but I will. And you
were there in person to see it get signed.
Exactly. Right? I know it was him who signed it. My only dilemma is, since I have and I'm going to be breaking that product on Friday of this week, because it releases on Friday of this week. I got a number of cases. I'm going to be doing breaks on Fanatics Live. So guys, come check it out. But I'm like, ooh, do I keep it and do it as maybe like a giveaway in there? I don't know. I don't know yet. That could be a Jesse card. But it may also have to go to someone else. But
you need more time to kind of put that out there.
No, right? Like really pump it up if I'm going to do it. Yeah, we'll see. So that being said, though, Gary, like at the end after we did the break, he basically just went on this big, long, like not long, like as in too long. It was just like he gave this impassioned speech about non-sports cards and how people have kind of been sleeping on them to a large extent, and how that's what he's been looking for at this show. He said he bought himself like a rookie. I think there's like only one of these out there. It's a graded Tony the Tiger rookie card from like, the cereal company.
Yeah.
But he's been looking for other like mascots and things like that from early sets. So he's looking for vintage non-sport cards, which is really interesting, because that is one thing that a lot of diehard non-sport collectors want us to talk about more on here.
Vintage non-sports.
But it's just hard because there's a lot of people that want us to talk about new stuff or Pokemon or other things like that. And it's like, I want to satisfy both crowds, but to know like Gary's pushing that side of the hobby even more so, really actually makes me happy, because it's like there are some really cool, like a friend of the show, Jay, who's been on this show sometime months ago when we first started. He was showing off some of his vintage non-sport stuff, and it's pretty impressive to see like characters that are in like say 2024 Disney Chrome that can be sold for $12,000. Like Snow White, I think the one of one went for $12,000, something around there. But then you can get like these vintage ones that there's only like a pop one of, and they go for like $200. And it's like they're 70, 80, 100 years old in some instances, and they only go for like $100, $200, and you have this brand new stuff. And it's like, I don't want to take value away from the brand new stuff, because I think the brand new stuff is cool, and I get why people are collecting, but it's also like, well, let's also pay attention to the earlier non-sport. It makes a lot more sense why he's putting out a sticker product now too, because in the sales material that I ended up getting, there's like a point made in there. It's like a lot of the sets that we now find really popular, So Garbage Pail Kids, they had stickers when they first started.
Old wrestling
but then old wrestling stuff. You have a lot of non-sport, but you also have sports cards that had sticker sets when they first started too. So it's like, okay, this is kind of like their first, like they're like, hey, we're going to be one of these that lasts another 30, 40, 50 plus years. We want to be similar and have our own kind of sticker thing to start us off too. So
I love that.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
I love that. And I love the fact that I've never really thought of collecting vintage non-sports, especially when it has something to do with like advertising.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because that itself, it's like you're touching
many different collector groups. Yeah. Exactly.
So like Tony the Tiger, and then think about like the Kellogg's bird, and then we have like, again, non-sports advertising, and I love that. I love that.
I think he's going down a very interesting path, but I think it's like a good path for people who are just getting started in this too, because it's like, hey, see where the non-sport side of things started, and let's see where we are now. But it's like if you just start where you are now, a lot of people don't go back. They don't spend their time. They feel like it's like, I'm collecting what I know, and they don't waste their time.
But it's also, you think of what the market is doing, and people, if they want to collect modern stuff, they're going to collect modern stuff, and that's where the money is. So it's weird, right?
It's weird in the sense that they're not giving enough attention to it, even with the card makers. I wish like Topps would take notice of some of these older, like the ones that a lot of the OG non-sport collectors, the entertainment collectors, those cards that they like. I want to see like a version of that in a new set, right? Like give like an homage to the original. And I think there would be a lot more people buying into to these new sets that have been like, no, vintage or bust for me, or oh, this is like new stuff and no one cares about old stuff, so I'm not going to care about it. It's like bringing in a side of collectors that have been kind of staunchly against the newer versions of these releases and bringing them in, because it's like, oh, well, now you're giving me respect for the stuff I collect, and it would still be cool even for the new collector.
Yeah. It's funny. There's kind of a weird parallel with like Pokemon in general also. People are so like right now they're going back and seeing old sets, especially like mid-modern sets, and checking out what happened during that time when Pokemon wasn't as up as it is now, and seeing like, man, these cards are so awesome. And they're going back and collecting those cards, and some of those cards are super hard to find because there wasn't enough printing. People didn't go and get them graded. They could be stuck in binders somewhere. And so the pops are super low. And like you said earlier, Jesse, people are, an Umbreon is like $2,000, but it's like this mid-modern card is only like $200.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like,
why is that?
Why is that exactly?
But I think a lot of it goes back to people don't know. I think that's the answer. They don't know that it even exists. Everything Funko Pop, and at this point in time, I need you to educate me, because I've never collected them. I've only gotten a few. I've got like a few from The Office, like a Willy Wonka, Michael Scott, and then Andy Bernard with his bloody nipples. Like there's a couple of these Funko Pops that are absolutely amazing to me, and a few Star Wars ones as one. But I didn't know Ray was like such a big collector, and then he was the one who has been watching you for years and really talked you up. He's like, oh, we got to have you on here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I don't know if I'm considered like a Funko expert by any means, but I would say I probably know more than the average person. So I could share a little bit of insight, at least in that matter. But as far as for me, I mean, a little bit about myself. I honestly have been a collector of many things throughout my life. We'll probably talk about that a little bit, I would imagine. But yeah, I've collected a little bit of everything. Funko has just kind of been one of those things for me that they've just made so many different licenses and properties that I've really enjoyed and stuff like that. And so that's why it kind of, I guess I've been attracted to collecting Funko, and it's just something different every day, if that makes sense. So, but as far as like why I do it, I don't know. I still don't know why this is something that I do full time. But I mean, I've always loved collecting, and that's probably why it's something that I still do. But yeah, as for me, my channel mostly is dedicated to Funko. I like to sprinkle in the things that I like to collect here and there besides Funko, but for the most part, I would say it's probably focused on that. So,
how long have you been doing it?
So it's funny that you say that. So I've actually been on YouTube itself. I got a little notification the other day for like 8 years.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so-
OG.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you've got like 60 something thousand followers. That's huge. You must have like, do you do this full time? Is this your living?
Yeah, so I've been doing it full time for the past little over 2 years now. So, but yeah, I started the channel 8 years ago. I mean, off and on. Obviously, in the early days, like I was busy and things like that. But I would say like posting videos like weekly, almost every day, probably the past like probably like 5, 6 years. I would say.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And
Yeah.
how many Funko Pops would you say you have?
I would say between probably 500 and 600.
That's more than I thought. That's more than I thought.
Yeah, that's probably more than you think. Yeah. Because it's like you only see a little bit, but like I like to go around and show my collection every now and then. But I would say it's probably 500 to 600. I would think.
Now, Ray, how many Funko Pops do you have?
Oh man. Like I was telling Jesse before you came on, Mason, I've sold a lot just to get some grails that I've wanted, just like you have.
Yeah.
But right now I'm only collecting signed wrestling Funko Pops because there's just, again, like you said, there's so many out there. But if I were to pinpoint, Jesse, maybe like 100.
Oh, wow. You got a lot. What is the state of the hobby right now?
Oh man, that you're coming out the gates hot with that one. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can look at this. Like for the average like person that just walks into a store, like it's probably like the best time to be like a Funko collector because there's so many licenses out there now that it's easy to like get into. But as far as like hardcore collectors and stuff like that, I would say it's about the same. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's like all your old stuff is always going to have value. It's always going to be hard to find, but the new stuff is just kind of like it's pretty easy, pretty approachable, pretty easy to find, I would say. So it just depends on like what kind of collector you want to be. Are you a hardcore one that loves to collect the old pieces? Or are you just like a casual collector that just found like a new pop at Walmart that you like? It all just depends. I think overall, I think it's at a good spot. I mean, obviously they make a lot of pops and I think that they sometimes make too many. But I think there's an avenue for everybody, honestly. So
What would you say, like, as far as new pops versus old pops, the value is in older ones, right?
yeah, for sure. And it also just depends on like characters and stuff like that. Because even with new ones, there could be like they don't make as many of a certain one, or depending on how popular the character is, like it's kind of a little bit few and far between as far as like the old stuff. A good amount of old stuff has some good value, but like newer stuff, it just has to be kind of that kind of capture, magic in a bottle or whatever the expression is, that kind of thing.
Is it manufactured scarcity? Like they'll purposely only put out like a few of them to cause it to be like a chase item or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes that's the case. Like something this year that they've been pushing a lot more recently is releasing like limited edition stuff that actually has like numbered piece counts on the front. And so that definitely leans into the scarcity of it all. But sometimes it'll be like random things that I just don't imagine that they made like a ton of that goes up in value. Like I'm trying to think of something that's like super random that I noticed went up in value the other day. Like, for example, there's like a Funko Pop figure of like, are you guys familiar with like Chuck E. Cheese and like the mascot of Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese. Is it
Chucky Entertainment Cheese?
Or I think it's Charles technically.
Charles
Yes,
Entertainment
yes.
Cheese.
So that's like an example of something that I don't imagine that they made a lot of. It was like a $10 figure maybe a year or two ago, and now it's like $50. Obviously, that's not like super valuable, but that's just an example of something that they made that I don't imagine that they thought they would need to make a lot of. And then obviously there's not a lot of them out there, and then they go up in value. So that's a different example, I guess, of scarcity. But
You said they've started adding like serial numbers though to these. You said it's on the outside of the boxes though.
yeah, so they'll have like a sticker on the front. So they have like a different, at least this year, they've started like a tier system. So like at least on Funko.com and select retailers, they'll have like ones that are limited to like 5,000 pieces or like even more than that. And so that I think people wanted to see more of, so you knew exactly how many there were. But yeah, those are definitely out there, and they focused more on like piece counts and stuff. But depending on where you are, like they come out with like piece count stuff all the time at different events and things, Comic Cons. But that one seems to be more like general limited piece count that a lot more people would have access to.
Now, like in the 90s, they started doing this with cards because I come from the card world, both sport and non-sport. I know like when they were trying to innovate and create more collectors, they started doing different things. One of them is serializing some of those cards. Other things were having pack pulled autograph cards inside. Are any of these coming out as already autographed? Because I know that, like Ray said, he's collecting a lot of like signed WWE ones, but I think for the most part, people have just been going and getting them signed. At least that's been my assumption.
Yeah, I don't think Funko themselves sells any signatures that I know of. I know that there's companies obviously that do that, but I think that would be a great idea, kind of like the sports card market, where you can get like jersey cards, autographs, stuff like that. If they did that with Funko, like somehow, I don't know how you would do that because obviously cards are wrapped up and things like that in little packages, but if they were somehow able to figure that out, I think that would be a cool idea.
Maybe like a blind box. We know that Pop Mark is going crazy right now. So
that's a good point. Well, and do they ever do blind box Funkos? Is that a thing?
Yeah. So they actually just at Comic-Con, they did like a whole different thing where you could get like different colored variants of like, are you guys familiar with Huckleberry Hound? Like the character,
like from back in the day,
like Hanna-Barbera.
Oh cartoon. Yeah, baby, I know all about Huckleberry. Have you seen any for like resale? Are they going for like a higher dollar amount?
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to the market on that much because that's not really something that interests me as far as like what I like to collect. But I think like some of those higher piece count ones are going like probably $500 to $600, I would imagine. So,
well, now that I think about it, Mason, they did. They don't sell this product anymore, but Funko sodas. You familiar with this?
No, what's a Funko soda?
So it was like a can, and inside it had a character, let's say Huckleberry Hound, and you open it up, you could have a chase variant inside, and it's numbered to whatever. They tried those, and they don't make them anymore. So maybe it was not the right time when they initially came out.
No, they've actually, so sodas were really big and then they went away and now they're kind of coming back. They're trying to like repackage it a little bit, but that was another big like limited piece thing. So it was like essentially just like a soda can figure, and then it had the number on the front, what it was limited to, but everyone had like a chance at like a chase as well. And so there'd be a little insert that would tell you like what how many pieces were of the regular one or of the chase. So if I had one with me like that was close, I'd grab one, but they're all in different parts of my office right here. So
it does. Okay. So you're actually pulling it out of the soda can or something? Well, and it's interesting because we talk about like cards in this, there have been crossovers because I actually have like a few cases, because I thought these were going to be huge because you have like Funko Pop meets like Prism football cards. So I've got like these Prism and Funko did these collabs where it's like a larger figure, I think, but it also has like a card, a copy of like a Patrick Mahomes Prism card. And then there was maybe a Tom Brady, a couple others in there, but I've got a few of these that I've saved away. And I looked a few months after their release and it was like actually down a little from what I bought it at release. So it's like, I don't know if that ever made its way, but I assume they've licensed. And from what you told me, they license with a lot of people. Do you feel like that waters down the collectability to some extent?
Maybe a little bit, but I think their overall thing is like their motto is like everyone is a fan of something. So I think they think like more licenses the better. But I sometimes think that they might need to do a little bit of like just talking to their clientele and seeing what they actually want, because sometimes there's things that are made that I don't understand like why they're made, but sometimes I'm like, okay, that definitely makes sense why they made that. But I don't know, sometimes there's a little bit more of like license fatigue, if that makes sense, so
that's actually what I was thinking too. And because I go to like go to GameStop, right? And I go to GameStop and I go to the clearance section because I'm like, I'm not gonna pay full price for one of these Funko Pops. I'd rather get one for like $10 or $5 in some cases. And even though like there's some that are really cool, like the Simpsons ones are always more expensive, and I really want some Simpsons ones, and I'm going to break down eventually and do it. But I'll go over there and I'm like, oh wow, why do they have so many Funko Pops of like IP that very few people I would think like care that much about. And that's where I think it comes from, like that whole like IP, overdoing it in some sense. But I don't know. I again, like, I think the motto, everybody's a fan of something, like that's a good motto. And you would think like, oh, you can collect these or not even collect them. I just like the figurine because I like the, Homer Simpson. I just want that on my shelf somewhere. So that is explainable. But you say like how, I don't know, Funko, do they listen to the consumer? You say like if they would ask, those who are collectors out there, have they ever reached out to you? Are they like approachable to have conversations? Because in the card world, I like how they've been doing that. Some of these big companies are very open and willing to talk. I'm just curious how that works on your side of things.
I'd say it's pretty good. I think there's like different ways that you could probably communicate with them. Obviously, like on social media, you can leave comments and things. And I know that there's people's jobs out there. I've actually met people at Funko that like, look at social media posts and like gather like information as far as like what things they should make. Like there's people that watch like Funko related content creators to see what's out there and get like opinions of things. And like, that's somebody's job. I know that much. But as far as like the average person, like getting a hold of them, I think you can like suggest things here and there. But for the most part, if you want to see something implemented, it probably takes longer than you would think with how big of a company that they are. So like being probably like something to change like 5 months to even like a year out, I would say, even if you suggested something. So,
and I say that because what I've found from just observing collectors in general is they like to feel heard and feel like a part of what they're collecting. And like, whether that's just like a door for them to make suggestions or something else, I think guys would appreciate it. But it's also, I wonder too, how much they spend on IP, like when they make these, they got to pay the people they're getting the IP from a royalty of some kind. I would be curious if they would make their own version of a Funko Pop, if that would sell, and maybe that could come from like someone else's ideas. Cause, and maybe I'm just making an assumption here, but I've just assumed every Funko Pop is off of somebody else. It's off of someone else's creation, not their own.
They actually have come up with like their own characters and things like that. Like, I mean, obviously this isn't really like goes away from what you just said, but they like to focus a lot on like their mascot as well, like Freddy Funko.
Freddy Funko.
And doing a lot of things with him.
It's one of the most sought after Funko Pops.
Really?
Funko.
Yeah.
How much, like, is that expensive, I assume?
Yeah, there's some Freddies that go for like thousands of dollars depending on which one you find. But usually those Freddies, like depending on what it is, can be attached to other like IPs and characters. So it could be like their mascot dressed as like cosplaying as Batman or something. But like sometimes they'll come up with like original ideas, and some of those original Freddies are worth a good amount of money. But I would say like probably 85% leaning into like other IPs, but like 15% leaning into their own probably is what they do. So I think obviously they lean into others probably because they know that will sell a little bit better, but some of their like own made up stuff does pretty good too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool to know. And the Freddy Funko, I realized like I've seen just a plain Funko before. I didn't realize like, oh, he had a name, Freddy Funko. Is that the most expensive like Funko out there? Is there a most expensive or one that set a record for highest sale?
Yeah, so actually not too long ago, I want to say it was last year. So there's a 2-pack, and you were talking about Willy Wonka earlier. So it's a gold 2-pack of Willy Wonka and an Oompa Loompa. And it sold, I want to say, for like over 200 grand. Was it 250?
Really? Is it just like super rare?
Yeah, so I think they only made, I want to say it was limited to 10 pieces, but like I think 6 or so were only like known on the market that I know of. Yeah. If you look it up, I bet you'll find an article about it. Like it was a shop, I think, that bought it off of somebody. So that might have been last year or the year before, but I'm pretty sure that's the most expensive pop.
I can't remember exactly, Mason. It was like a contest, like a golden ticket kind of situation to get that Funko Pop, or am I completely...
Not for that one specifically. I think that one was given out like at an event at San Diego Comic-Con, if I remember correctly. But they have done something like that before, back when Toys R Us existed. Back in the day, they had a thing where it was the mascot of Toys R Us Jeffrey, and like there was a ticket inside of one of those pops, like a golden ticket that would get you access to go to like the Funko headquarters or something like that. So they have done something like that in the past.
I'm just looking. I pulled up like a thing of like most expensive Funkos. I don't know when this is from because it does not have that one on there. This article may be a little bit older. Like it shows like a Clockwork Orange. There was one that was like said between $25,000 and $26,000 or something like that at that time. But again, that may be an older article. I need to find out about this because this is obviously not the heyday of Funko. Like when would you say the heyday of Funko was?
I would say like actually during the pandemic, probably, and maybe a little bit after, maybe even like I would say pandemic era and a little bit after.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Every hobby exploded during that time.
Yeah.
Okay, I found another list, another article that shows most expensive Funkos, and it does show it was the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con Willy Wonka and Oompa Loompa golden ticket 2-pack. It looks like highest sale price they're saying 100,000. So, I mean, 6-figure sale. It's pretty up there, I'd say. Not too bad. And it looks like the Clockwork Orange one has had sales up into 60,000 since that other article I had checked out. So, yeah, it's very interesting to see other fandoms out there and collectibles that are doing well. I'm curious, what are your personal favorite Funkos?
Oh man, I mean, if we're looking behind me, I love the Simpsons. I have like a whole Simpsons corner of my office right here. But yeah, because there's so many fun characters, and I think there's obviously more characters that they could make, but like they made a lot of the different characters. I mean, I don't know, the video games that I played as a kid, so all the PlayStation classics, those are fun to collect. Like I didn't really feel like I was into this as a kid, but Funko kind of turned me into this. I love all the like cereal mascot characters. Yeah, Boo Berry, Count Chocula, like all the original guys and some of the Tony the Tiger. And there's some pretty valuable ones of those as well. But I don't know. I like a lot of stuff. That's the problem. A lot of like animated things I like. I really love sports too. So I'm a big baseball, basketball guy. So any of the teams that I like or any of like classic like baseball players I like to collect as well. So
if there's a flipper out there that wants to go out and flip a Funko, that's fun to say. Flip a Funko.
Flip a Funko.
If
the
you
alliteration
go
on fire today, Jesse.
If you want to go out and flip a Funko, what are you looking for to know like, oh, this is going to be more popular than others? Or do you have to like do research ahead of time, or is there something you can kind of tell?
There's a lot of different things that you could be on the lookout for. I mean, as far as if you're looking, I don't know, because I don't like doing this, but like buying new stuff and flipping it, there's obviously new things that have value. You just got to know what's out there. Like obviously anime is a big thing that like Funko just totally pumps out a ton of different anime figures, and some of those can have different like rarity variants and things like that. Horror is always a big one too. Like, and I know that like some of those figures that they make as well can be pretty valuable, even if like they're new ones. But I don't know, things that you want to be on the lookout for if you really want to, like just older stuff. Like there's ways that you can tell like on boxes like what's older, and like if you just see like classic characters and things like that, just do a little bit more research and maybe it's worth something. But there's a lot of different factors to it. Honestly, it's kind of hard to get into all the details, but.
Well, I mean, you've been doing this for a number of years. I assume we can't cover it all in this short amount of time, but I am curious, do you collect anything other than Funkos?
Yeah, I really love. I'm trying to think. I collect a little bit of everything Simpsons, obviously. So if there's things that I like, I actually back in the day when I was like younger, growing up, I collected a lot of different cards. So baseball and basketball cards. I used to actually do a thing where you would like send cards to players in the mail, and then send them back in envelopes. So I probably have like a good like 100 or so like on card autographs and stuff from when I used to do that back in the day.
That's very cool.
So,
did you get them graded at all, or just as is?
No, I haven't gotten anything graded. And it's funny, I made like a YouTube short the other day of showing off just like at a glance, like all the cards that I used to have. And somebody was like, oh, you've got like a Steph Curry rookie card that's worth like $250 or something. And I was like, really? I had no idea. And so there's definitely things that I could probably look at and it would probably have more value. But
that statement right there amazes me. And it does actually give me even more hope that like there are still like garage sales that I can go to and still find a good deal on something, because it's like you are a collector. You make your living off of showing off your collection of collectibles. But then there's another hobby that you're not as in, even though you have some of them, that you had no idea that a Steph, a Steph Curry rookie would be worth 250. I mean, if it's a good rookie, it's probably worth even more than that. But it's like, you had no idea about that. That's amazing. And it gives me hope. Like, oh, not everybody knows about this. There's still a lot of time for people to get into this, or a lot of time for me to find collections of value without them already being like sent off for auction to some major auction house.
Yeah, you would be surprised by the things that I find. Like, obviously, I do a lot of what I do on my videos is going out to, like thrift stores, collectible shops, garage sales, looking for Funkos, for a good price and things like that. But like, I find some of the craziest stuff, and people are always like, "Is this like staged or is this like fake?" And I'm like, "No, you just right place, right time. Just if you know what you're looking for, like you can probably find that within anything, not just Funko." So.
Man, very cool.
Mason, what was the coolest thing that you found out in the wild? Like, let's say at a thrift store or a garage sale.
Dude, I found so many crazy things. It's insane. Like, I'm trying to think recently what I found. One of my most recent videos. So I went to a thrift store and they had a OG Billy, like from Saw, like the puppet, Funko Pop, and it was they had it for $10, and that goes over like for over like $100, like $100 to $150. So,
dang, that's crazy. Just sitting there on the shelf.
yep.
And what would you say is like the biggest, I don't know, find that you've ever had? Would that be, I mean, like, I don't want to put you on the spot if you've never thought about it, but if there's anything that stands out.
There was, okay, so this one has an interesting story. So it was actually like a whole box of Funko Pop. So I was coming back from a work thing that I was doing, and I was on Facebook Marketplace, and somebody was cleaning out like a old house or something, and they were like, "Hey, I've got this box of Funko Pops, and they're for free." And I was like, "Okay." And I noticed some older figures on the top that were like some pretty good ones, and like you could tell that there might be some that were like underneath. And I was like, you know what? I'll pay this person like $50 or whatever. I'm not sure what's in there, but I have an inkling at least like what's on the top that it's going to be good. And so I had him hold it for me. So I went and picked it up maybe like a day or two later, and inside of that box was like so many original like Marvel and DC pops from like 2012, 2013. Like there was a bank robber Joker in there from like the Dark Knight that was like a $500 to $600 pop. There was a Batman in there from Dark Knight that was like $100, a Spider-Man in there that was like $150. And so, yeah, that was probably like craziest. I think that was one of my top performing videos too. Cause people are like, yeah, that's totally staged. And I was like, no, like it was just somebody that was cleaning out somebody's house. I don't know if they were doing it like for a friend or something, or if they were like, one of those people that cleans out storage unit kind of things. But like, yeah, that as a collective would probably be like one of the crazier things that I found.
Can you tell if a box has been opened, or do people want to know like it's been never opened, sealed?
So it's more of like, because boxes can still be open and like condition of box can still be good. So it's a more of a matter of how like the box condition is, rather if it's been open, because you can still open it and it still be in good condition. So but yeah, it's more of like if it has like creases or like tears on it and stuff like that. So
have you ever sent any Funko Pops that get graded through PSA?
No, I don't believe that to really be a thing that should exist. I don't know. I'm not a huge, I don't know. That seems just kind of weird to me. Like I get sports card thing with that, but I mean, I don't know. There's probably a market for that out there, but me personally, I don't think I'd ever send in a pop. Cause from what I've seen, like people that try and sell graded pops, like, I don't know, it doesn't really like fit in your collection the way it's like displayed and stuff. Like if you were to put a graded pop on a shelf, it doesn't fit the same way it would if you just had it normally. Does that make sense? It takes up like too much space. And so I don't know, maybe if it's like an autograph pop, I maybe understand that a little bit more as maybe getting graded, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me personally.
Do you have many autographs yourself?
Oh yeah, I have a decent amount of them. Yeah, a good handful.
Now, are you getting them autographed yourself like you did with the cards, or are you buying them as is?
Yeah, a good majority of the ones that I have I've actually gotten signed myself. I'm trying to think of anything that I've gotten signed recently. I have Damian Lillard that I got signed in person a little while ago. That was pretty cool. Some of the Sandlot, like the movie Sandlot, some of the cast from that, I've gotten those signed in person. And then like just random like things like voice actors here and there, like from cartoons and things. Like actually at a WonderCon earlier this year in Los Angeles, I met the creator of Fairly Odd Parents and like the two of the main voice actors for that, and I got a pop signed. Like it was like by all three of them, so that was pretty cool.
Is that a Fairly Odd Parents Funko over your left shoulder there?
This one right here, yeah, the goldfish in the bowl, yeah. I like to put some of the fun, like bigger display piece pops in like the background and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
What would you say is the biggest or best show for Funko Pop?
I would say any of your major Comic Cons, so like San Diego Comic Con that happened this last year, is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of like local shows that are pretty good as well. Like any local Comic Con that you go to is probably going to have a good amount of Funkos. Um, but I know that there's shows out there that are dedicated to Funko. There was one just this last like month or so that was just all Funko Pops, but that is kind of like I don't think you're going to see like a show that's dedicated to Funko Pops as much, but any Comic Con is probably going to be your best bet.
Is there anything that excites you for the future of Funko? Like any new announcements? I know they just announced a couple new things at San Diego Comic Con.
I here's the thing, they're always coming out like literally every week they have new releases. And so it's hard to gauge like what I'm super excited about until they actually announce it, you know, because there's always new stuff that's coming out. But I don't know. As far as the future of Funko, I think I don't know. I'm excited to kind of see like where they go with like the limited piece thing that they started. One thing that like they've actually been really successful in that a lot of other companies weren't successful in, where it's like the pop, like digital stuff, kind of like NFTs and things like that. They're still doing really strong on that. And they make some really fun like licenses with those. So I'm kind of excited to see kind of the future of that. And they've done some really cool things to kind of spice that up. But I would be excited to see as far as the future, like them appearing at more like shows and things, having a little bit more like public face, if that makes sense, going to different things and events and things like that. Like that's kind of what excites me, is seeing them more in the public eye and things like that. So
is there an IP that they have never done a Funko of that you wish they would?
I mean, I think the biggest one that I would love to see would be like anything Nintendo. And I've actually talked to the VP of licensing, and he's like, trust me, he's like, we've barked up that tree plenty of times, and he's like, one of these days it might happen. You never know, like they'll change their mind or whatever. But I would say for me, that'd probably be one of the biggest ones that I can think of. And then like there's obviously shows here and there that they haven't made certain characters of like cartoons and things like that I would like to see. But yeah, for the most part, Nintendo would probably be the biggest one.
Yeah, I would want that. I would want a lot of those Funkos, actually. Okay.
That would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many characters now.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, I just think like all the Super Smash Brother characters alone, which have their own individual games that they would all have more characters from. Yeah, it would be amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, Mason, a couple questions for you. What is your Grail Funko Pop that you do not have in your collection? And if your house were to catch fire, what would be the one Funko Pop that you're like, okay, let me grab this and we're out of here?
Oh man. Dude, okay, let's see. As far as Grail that I love, I don't know. There's tons that I have that are really cool. But as far as one that I'm still on the hunt for that I want, I have a series actually that I do on YouTube where like all the things that I find like at like garage sales and things like that, I use the funds that I sell those things towards my grails. And so currently I'm like checking off my list. I'm thinking what's on my list that I want right now. I would say there's like some like Futurama ones that I would really like that are really expensive. There's one of like, I don't know how familiar you are with like Futurama, but there's a 2-pack of like Fry and Leela, but they're like their alternate versions of them. Like it's dedicated to an episode where there's alternate version characters of them. So that's high on my list for sure. That's a pretty expensive one. Trying to think if there's anything else. There's a few figures here and there that are like original like Disney ones that I would like to get. Like there's an original Indiana Jones where he's like holding a golden idol that I would like to get, and some of the original SpongeBob characters that are pretty expensive. That's high on my list. But as far as one that I would save, oh man, maybe some of the signed Sandlot pops that I have, because I think those are pretty cool. That's one of my favorite movies back in the day, and so that would probably be high on my list of like one of the only things to save, probably.
Very
That's
nice.
I actually I had the opportunity, Mason, to get the whole cast of the Sandlot minus Benny the Jet Rodriguez, because he doesn't like to sign autographs.
Oh, he doesn't?
But the whole cast on the Beast Funko. So the whole cast signed the Beast Funko that I have in my collection. It's like one of my favorites.
You have that?
Yeah.
What? Dang.
So,
that's awesome.
That's a great idea. I don't know why I didn't do that. Like now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, dang, I should have done that.
Huh. Wow. That's okay. Well, I feel pretty stupid over here. All I got is like bloody nipple Funkos over here. And I do have like you said Indiana Jones. I've got like the bad guy, like the Nazi from the first Indiana Jones. I've got his Funko.
Why do you have that?
Because I thought it would be like a weird showcase of like weird Funkos, but in hindsight, realizing like I have a Nazi Funko probably is not like the best look, but I hide him away sometimes. So, well, Mason, hey, thank you very much. Wasatch Pop. If you guys are on YouTube, of course you are. Everyone is. Go over, check out his channel. He's got obviously some really great content. Really appreciate you making some time for us and letting us pick your brain. If you hear of other cool news coming out, hit us up. Maybe we can get you back on here.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I always love doing stuff like this. I feel like I don't do enough podcasts and things like that, so I definitely jumped at the opportunity. I was like, this should be fun. So,
guys, as a fun little fact, that was Mason. Mason was very knowledgeable. Thank you, by the way, Ray. Ray's the one we have to thank for that very, very good interview. But I wanted to mention that we are now, if you're listening to this on any platform, you can now add YouTube Music as a platform. You can be listening to this podcast.
Come on, baby.
I did not really make the connection that YouTube Music was not one that like Megaphone automatically like exported to. And so someone mentioned the other day, like, man, I wish I could listen on YouTube Music. Well, baby, now you can.
Now you can. Come on now. That one listener that listens to us on
guy.
YouTube Music.
Actually, what's funny is like I just uploaded, I did it all like I think right before I left for the National last week. And I've already seen like, I mean, it's not a ton, but there's actually a few listeners that have just started listening over on YouTube Music already.
Oh,
so,
well, hey.
Hey, I mean, not too shabby. Speaking of a few other things that we've already discussed, I did want to mention one thing or a couple other things from the National. One was that our boys at DC Sports, they're very kind. They've been sponsoring the show for a few months now, but they were insane as far as like the amount of cards that they took in. I saw a thing this morning. They took in over 100,000 cards that they're going to be posting up or have already posted up. So that was very cool. Again, guys, if you were looking to consign anything, that's where we just moved the Spider-Man out of 5. Just recently was with DC Sports 87. Check them out for consigning. It makes your life so much easier if you're looking to sell something on eBay. Other thing that I noticed at the National was very non-sport related, and it has to do with something that I love very much, which is Back to the Future.
We need to start a GoFundMe and get Jesse the hoverboard signed by Doc Brown and
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly's might be a little shaky, but we'll get you a nice one.
Well, what's interesting is Leaf made a post right before I left for the National, and it was like Back to the Future. They gave very little detail, but it was a Back to the Future card. It was like a booklet with Michael J. Fox's auto on one side, because he kind of needs a little more space for signing these days. But then you have Christopher Lloyd. You've got the actor who played Biff and the actor that played Lorraine, the mom, all signing on the other side of the card. It's not my like dream card, but it is a card that I very much want.
Top 10.
Yes, top 10, I would say. So here's what I found out about this card. That card is going to be in a high-end product that's coming out very soon called Red Carpet. There's only going to be like 200 boxes of it.
Wow.
There's only going to be 5 of those in that product, but that will be coming out there. But it'll also be, he said there are very, very limited amounts of these. The other ones will be in next year's Pop Century product.
Oh, okay. So you have 2 opportunities to get those signatures.
Exactly. But it sounds like very rare opportunities because I'm sure there'll probably be Pearl cards or something like that in next year's Pop Century. But either way, that is where you
do we know
those.
What else is going to be in this Red Carpet product?
I don't know. I feel like they are not giving much information because I kind of had to like pry a little bit as to like what the name was and stuff. So they haven't like officially announced anything about it yet.
So is this breaking news?
It could be breaking news. You know what? That's breaking news. Friend of the show, his name's Bryce. He sent me over this link to a very limited drop apparently. So there's this company called SWAU. I think it used to be like Star Wars Authentic is what they would go by, but it's just SWAU. And it's a firm that I believe Fanatics is partnered with so that they can get celebrity autographs on their cards. They have put out a product, it's called Artist Series, that they've done, I think, once before, and now this is the second time. They've done it for Star Wars, and it's where they have sketch artists that a lot of these sketch artists are in the Star Wars products that Topps uses. But they are these sketch artists that will make the sketch, they'll sign the back of it, but on the front of it, they'll actually have the artist, on the front of it, they'll actually have the celebrity sign their name under the sketch. So whoever played that character will sign the name. I wish Topps would do this because I think that's a great idea.
I think that's all. You double the autos,
right?
And a sketch. That's insane.
The sketches themselves are already super popular, but then you get the fact that you're getting the actual, like, Diego Luna signing like an Andor card, or you're getting like Pedro Pascal signing a Mandalorian card. Like these are actually in the product, that Artist Series product that just came out. It came out at 12 Eastern and it sold out at like 12:02. I got 5 of them before it sold out.
So you did get some.
I got some. I have not opened them yet because you get a random one. You don't know who you're getting. You don't know.
It's just one thing.
So it's a 5 individual boxes and it's just one sketch and they're all sealed. So I haven't opened any of them. So I don't know.
Signed by the celebrity and signed by the artist.
Exactly.
And you get a sketch.
That's what it is. It's the sketch on the card.
I think that's so cool. What would be your...
Oh, I want a Mandalorian very, very, very badly. I mean, very, very, very badly. But I would also like an Ahsoka. I think that'd be amazing. Knowing that Rosario Dawson also signed for this is very huge. There's actually, I think the names that they specifically listed are Ewan McGregor, Rosario Dawson, Diego Luna, Giancarlo Esposito, and then it just says many more. But then, like, I've seen that on their site, they have Pedro Pascal signing for them. So it's like, I feel like there's got to be a Pedro in there too. But there's also, Paul Bettany and a few other big names that have signed in this. I really, really, really want to open it. I have not opened them yet because I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I want to include these like in a break or something, like do a random 5-spot break, or I could include them when Topps Chrome Star Wars comes out, which is going to be here in the next few weeks. So I'm I'm very much torn, of what I want to do, but I will inevitably open these. I will film it and I'll show the world what we got. Go.
You should open just one box for the hobby teaser. Nonsense.
Ooh,
YouTube
for the crowd.
Channel.
Ooh, that might be a good
Exclusive.
idea. Oh, maybe we do like some kind of giveaway, get some subscribes going.
Oh, wow.
I don't
At 1,000 subscribers, give away
1,000 subscriber giveaway. All right. You know what? Make it so. That's a Star Trek, not Star Wars reference, but I'm still here for it. Let's do it. I'm going to hold back one. One of them will be 1,000 subscriber giveaway. One of you subscribers, whoever you are, to the Hobby Nonsense YouTube channel, you will be entered to win. So there you go.
We're amazing.
Doing it.
Just
some of those, by the way, have gone for like $500+ like, well, that's like on the cheaper side. I think if you get like a big name, like you could be closer to $1,000, but
yikes.
yeah,
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, what an episode. We've been going
It's been like so like
I know
compact and slam packed.
We've got a lot of things that we talked about. The only other note I had on here was that Pokemon is now on Campbell's soup cans. That's all I had, and that was it. Subscribe wherever you're listening to your podcast. It also helps with our numbers and things.
Write a review. Let us know.
Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to see changed or added, or just keep doing?
Or if there's something that you want us to talk about a little more,
yes,
review and let us know.
We read and look at all of those. So thank you. All right, that is Hobby Nonsense. We will see you next week. Goodbye.